Success is something that we all want, isn't it? But here's what we often overlook. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. You see, chasing success can lead you to frustration, to exhaustion, because the more you chase, the more it seems to slip away. But when you focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts success, you don't have to chase it anymore. Success finds you. So let me ask you something. What kind of person are you becoming? That's where it all begins. You might be asking yourself, what does it mean to become a person who attracts success? Well, it starts with developing your character, refining your habits, and sharpening your mindset. Success, my friends, is attracted to certain qualities: discipline, perseverance, generosity, integrity. It's attracted to people who add value to the world, people who are constantly growing, constantly improving. It's attracted to people who are intentional with their lives, people who have goals, people who have a vision. So let's talk about goals. You can't attract success without clear goals. You've got to have a destination in mind. A lot of people make the mistake of wandering through life without a clear direction, and they wonder why success seems elusive. I'll tell you why. Success doesn't come to the wandering. It comes to those who are clear about what they want and are willing to pay the price to get it. Now, what is that price? It's time, effort, discipline, sacrifice. But you have to start with that first step. Know what you want. If I asked you right now, what's your goal for the next 5 years? Could you answer me? Could you give me a clear, specific, and compelling answer? Because if you can't, then I can tell you right now, you're not going to attract success. You've got to be clear. Clarity leads to action, and action leads to results. When you know what you want, the path becomes clearer. Now, don't get me wrong, the path won't always be easy. In fact, it rarely is. But you'll be moving in the right direction, and that's what counts. Success comes to those who are willing to take consistent, disciplined action in the direction of their goals, even when the going gets tough. And believe me, it will get tough. But here's the secret. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. That's why becoming a person who attracts success is so important. You've got to become tougher, wiser, more resilient. The bigger your goals, the bigger the obstacles. But the obstacles are not there to stop you. They're there to make you stronger. Years ago, I was broke. I was 25 years old, and I had nothing. I mean, nothing in the bank, nothing in my pocket, and not much hope for the future. But something happened to me that changed the course of my life forever. I met a mentor, Mr. Schoaf, and Mr. Schoaf told me something that hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, Jim, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. That was a revelation. I had been waiting for my circumstances to change. But what Mr. Schoaf taught me was that it wasn't about my circumstances, it was about me. I was the problem, but I was also the solution. If I wanted to attract success, I had to become the kind of person that success would be attracted to. So I started working on myself. I started reading books, listening to seminars, seeking out mentors, doing whatever it took to improve my mindset, my skills, my habits. And slowly, but surely, things started to change. Why? Because I was changing. And that's the key, my friends. Success is something you attract by the person you become. When I changed, the opportunities changed. When I changed, the people I met changed. When I changed, everything changed. But it all started with me. Let's talk about habits. Because if you want to attract success, You've got to cultivate the right habits. Your habits determine your future. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if your habits are out of alignment with your goals, you're going to struggle. Think about it. If you want to be physically fit, but you have the habit of eating junk food and skipping the gym, are you going to get fit? Of course not. The same is true for success. You can't expect to be successful if your habits don't align with success. So, what are your habits? Successful people have success habits. They read, they plan, they take action. They review their progress, they get up early, they stay focused. They are consistent. And that's a big one. Consistency. It's not about doing something great once in a while. It's about doing the right things day in and day out. Success isn't built on occasional effort. It's built on consistent effort. And I'm telling you, that's not easy. It's easy to get excited for a day, maybe a week, but can you stay excited? Can you stay committed for months, for years? That's where the magic happens. It's in the consistency. But here's something else. Not only do you need the right habits, but you also need the right mindset. Your mindset is like the soil where everything else grows. If your mindset is negative, if it's full of doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs, it's going to be hard for you to attract success. You got to believe that you can become the person who attracts success. You got to believe that you're capable of achieving great things. Because if you don't believe it, no one else will. Now, don't get me wrong, belief by itself isn't enough. But belief is the foundation. It's where everything starts. You have to believe that your life can be different, that your future can be better than your past. I'm sure you've heard the saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. It's true. Your mindset shapes your reality. If you believe you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. But if you believe you can grow, you will grow. That's why becoming a person who attracts success starts with transforming your mindset. So how do you do that? You feed your mind with good information. You've got to be careful what you're letting into your mind, because your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs everything around it. If you're surrounding yourself with negative people, with pessimism, with fear, guess what? That's going to shape your thoughts. But if you surround yourself with positive influences, if you read books that inspire you, if you spend time with people who challenge you to be better, your mindset will shift. It has to. You'll start thinking differently. And when you start thinking differently, you'll start acting differently. And when you start acting differently, you'll start attracting different results. Now, relationships can be a big part of this. The people you surround yourself with have a massive influence on who you become. If you're hanging around with people who are negative, who don't have goals, who are content with mediocrity, it's going to be hard for you to attract success. You've got to surround yourself with people who lift you up, people who inspire you, people who challenge you to grow, people who are on a similar path of self-improvement. There's an old saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. It's true. You become like the people you spend the most time with. So if you want to attract success, take a look at your circle. Who are you spending time with? Now, I'm not saying you have to cut everyone out of your life, but I am saying you need to be intentional about the people you allow to influence you. Surround yourself with people who have high standards, people who are going somewhere, people who believe in your potential, because those people will push you to be better. And when you become better, you attract better. When I started working on myself, I noticed something interesting. The people around me started to change. Not because they were changing, but because I was changing. Some of the old friends I used to hang out with, they weren't interested in what I was doing anymore. They didn't want to read the books I was reading, didn't want to talk about personal development, success, or big ideas. And I realized something. Not everyone is going to come with you on your journey to success. Some people will stay where they are, and that's okay. But you've got to be willing to let go of relationships that hold you back if you want to move forward. You see, every relationship is like a force, either pulling you up or dragging you down. There's no middle ground. So ask yourself, are the people in my life pushing me toward my goals, or are they pulling me away? Be honest with yourself. If you're serious about becoming the person who attracts success, you need to align your relationships with your ambitions. Now, I know that's not always easy. Sometimes it's painful, but success requires sacrifice. You can't hang on to everything and expect to move ahead. When I started hanging out with my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, he introduced me to a whole new group of people who were achieving, people who were successful. And I'm telling you, that changed everything. I saw how these people thought, how they acted, how they carried themselves. They were disciplined, focused, generous, and optimistic. They believed in abundance, not scarcity, and that kind of thinking. It rubs off on you. I started to think differently, dream bigger, and act with more purpose. Why? Because I was around people who were already living the kind of life I wanted to live. So ask yourself, who are you learning from? Who are you modeling your life after? If you want to attract success, you need role models who are already successful. Success leaves clues, my friends. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Find people who have already achieved what you want to achieve and learn from them. Study their habits, their mindset, their routines. Success is predictable if you follow the right patterns. That's what I did with Mr. Schoaf. I followed his lead, I listened to his advice, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. Let's talk about value. If you want to attract success, you need to become a person of value. Success isn't attracted to people who are just taking up space. It's attracted to people who are adding value to the world. And here's the key. The more value you add, the more success you will attract. But what does it mean to add value? It means solving problems. It means helping others. It means contributing more than you take. Successful people are problem solvers. They find ways to improve the world around them. They bring solutions, not complaints. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. So ask yourself, how can I add more value? How can you solve bigger problems? How can you contribute more to your job, to your business, to your community? When you become a person of value, people will seek you out. Opportunities will knock on your door. Why? Because the world rewards those who give more than they take. And remember this, the size of your success is directly proportional to the size of the problems you solve. If you solve small problems, you'll have small success. If you solve big problems, you'll attract big success. But here's something else to keep in mind. Becoming a person of value isn't just about solving external problems. It's also about working on your inner self, your character, your integrity, your ethics. People who attract lasting success are people who live by a code of values. They don't cut corners, they don't cheat, they don't deceive. They operate with integrity. Why? Because trust is the foundation of all success. If people can't trust you, you won't get very far. You might achieve some short-term gains, but it won't last. True success Lasting success is built on trust. So be someone people can trust. Here's what Mr. Shoaff told me. He said, Jim, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. That means if you cut corners in one area of your life, it's going to spill over into other areas. If you're dishonest in one aspect, that dishonesty will seep into other parts of your life. You can't compartmentalize your character. So if you want to become a person who attracts success, start by looking at the small things. Are you keeping your promises? Are you following through on your commitments? Are you doing your best, even when no one is watching? Because it's in those small daily decisions that your character is built. And your character is what ultimately attracts or repels success. Now, I want to talk about one of the most important qualities that attracts success: discipline. Without discipline, you won't get very far. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your achievements. It's the ability to keep going when the initial excitement wears off. It's the ability to stick to a plan, to stay focused, even when distractions come your way. And I'm telling you, there will always be distractions. There will always be things trying to pull you off course. But discipline is what keeps you on track. Discipline is what separates the winners from the losers, the successful from the unsuccessful. Most people give up when things get tough. But those who attract success, they keep going. They have the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. They understand that success is not about feelings. It's about principles. It's about doing the right thing day in and day out, whether you feel like it or not. Now, discipline doesn't come naturally to most people. It certainly didn't come naturally to me. But here's the good news. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. You can build your discipline over time, just like you build your physical strength in the gym. It starts with small decisions. Maybe you wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Maybe you stick to your workout routine even when you'd rather stay in bed. Maybe you finish that project at work even though you're tired. Each time you make a disciplined decision, you're strengthening your discipline muscle. And over time, it becomes easier. But here's something else to remember. Discipline is about self-respect. When you discipline yourself to do the things you know you should do, you're respecting yourself. You're saying, I'm worth the effort. My goals are worth the effort. And when you respect yourself, others will respect you too. That's another key to attracting success. People are drawn to those who respect themselves, who have high standards for their own behavior. So if you want to attract success, raise your standards. Expect more from yourself. Don't settle for mediocrity. Here's another powerful principle that will help you become the person who attracts success, and that's patience. You see, success doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, not an event. And most people get frustrated because they want instant results. But the truth is, success takes time. It's like planting a seed. You don't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, you nurture it, you give it time to grow. The same is true for your success. You've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to put in the work and trust the process. Patience doesn't mean sitting around doing nothing. It means continuing to work, continuing to improve, continuing to take action, even when you don't see immediate results. It means understanding that every step you take is moving you closer to your goal, even if the progress is slow. Too many people give up too soon because they are not patient enough to see the fruits of their labor. But success belongs to those who are willing to wait, who are willing to stay the course, who are willing to keep going. Patience, my friends, is a rare quality in today's world. We live in a time where everything is instant. Instant communication, instant gratification, instant access to information. But here's the thing. Real success, the kind that lasts, isn't instant. It's gradual, it's built brick by brick over time. And the only way to see that success manifest is to be patient with the process. There's an old saying, haste makes waste. When you rush through the process, you miss the lessons, you miss the growth, and ultimately, you miss the success. But while patience is important, it doesn't mean you sit back and wait for things to happen. Patience is about understanding that while you work, the results will come in due time. It's about trusting that your efforts will compound. That's the power of compounding, my friends. The small things you do consistently over time create massive results. Just like planting that seed. If you water it today and the next day and the day after that, eventually it grows into a strong tree. Same principle applies to your success. Every effort, every disciplined action, every small improvement, it all adds up. And that's why patience, combined with consistency, is a recipe for success. Now, while we're on the subject of patience, let's talk about persistence. Because if patience is the willingness to wait, persistence is the determination to keep going, no matter what. You can't attract success without persistence. Life is going to test you. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when you question whether it's all worth it. But I'm telling you, I've learned persistence always pays off. Always. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often just one thing: persistence. Successful people aren't always the smartest or the most talented, but they are often the most persistent. They refuse to give up. They refuse to be discouraged. They keep going no matter how hard it gets. Tell me, are you willing to fail on your way to success? Are you willing to keep going even when things don't go as planned? Because I'll tell you right now, if you're not willing to persist, you won't attract success. You've got to be resilient. You've got to have grit. You've got to be willing to pick yourself up every time you fall down. Success doesn't go to the person who never fails. It goes to the person who refuses to stay down. So when life knocks you down, and it will, get back up. Dust yourself off and keep moving forward. That's how you attract success. Now, here's something else about persistence. It's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. Persistence without strategy is like running on a treadmill. You're working hard, but you're not getting anywhere. You've got to be persistent with purpose. You've got to have a plan, a roadmap. You've got to know where you're going and then adjust your course as needed. Sometimes when something isn't working, it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you need to change your approach. Persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It means staying committed to your goal while being flexible in your approach. That's another quality of people who attract success. They are adaptable. They are willing to change their strategy when the situation demands it. They don't get stuck in one way of thinking. They're open to new ideas, new approaches, new ways of doing things. And that's important because the world is constantly changing. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. So you've got to be willing to evolve, to grow, to learn new skills, to embrace new opportunities. The more adaptable you are, the more you'll attract success. Back when I was getting started in business, I had this idea in my mind of how things should go. I thought if I worked hard enough, everything would fall into place. But things didn't always go according to plan. There were times when my strategy didn't work. There were times when my business wasn't growing the way I wanted it to. And I had two choices. I could stubbornly keep doing the same thing, or I could adapt. And thank goodness I chose to adapt. I started learning new ways to market, new ways to connect with people, new ways to manage my time and my resources. And you know what? That made all the difference. Success didn't come the way I originally imagined it. It came because I was willing to change, to adjust, to adapt. So Ask yourself, are you flexible enough to adapt when life throws you a curveball? Are you willing to change your approach when the old one isn't working? Because the truth is, life rarely goes exactly according to plan. There will always be unexpected challenges, unforeseen circumstances. But the people who attract success are those who are prepared to adjust. They don't let obstacles stop them. They find a way around them. They don't cling to old strategies. They embrace new ones. They stay focused on the goal, but they're flexible in their approach. Now, here's one of the most important pieces to attracting success: the power of a positive attitude. If you want to attract success, you've got to maintain a positive outlook. I'm not talking about wishful thinking or blind optimism. I'm talking about a mindset that sees opportunities where others see problems. I'm talking about a mindset that refuses to be discouraged no matter how tough things get. You see, a positive attitude is like a magnet for success. When you're positive, you attract positive people, positive opportunities, positive results. But when you're negative, you repel all those things. You can't attract success with a negative attitude. It's like trying to grow flowers in a garden full of weeds. A positive attitude doesn't mean you ignore reality. It doesn't mean you pretend everything is perfect when it's not. What it does mean is that you choose to focus on the solutions rather than the problems. It means you look for the lessons in every challenge. It means you maintain hope, even when things seem hopeless. And I'm telling you, that's a powerful place to be. When you stay positive in the face of adversity, you develop something even more valuable than success. You develop character. And character, my friends, is what ultimately sustains success. Because success without character is empty. But success built on a foundation of strong character, that's the kind of success that lasts. So how do you cultivate a positive attitude? You start by controlling what you focus on. If you focus on the negative, on what's wrong, on what you don't have, you'll feel negative. But if you focus on the positive, on what's right, on what you do have, you'll feel positive. It's that simple. What you focus on expands. So start training your mind to focus on the good. Start looking for the silver lining in every situation. Start being grateful. Because being grateful is the gateway to a positive attitude. When you're grateful for what you have, you open the door for more good things to come into your life. But if you're constantly complaining, constantly focusing on what you lack, you close that door. Being grateful and positivity are magnets for success. Here's a little exercise. Every day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just 3 things that you appreciate about your life. It could be your health, your family, your work, the opportunities you have. And here's what will happen. Over time, as you train your mind to focus on the positive, you'll start to see more and more things to be grateful for. And the more grateful you are, the more success you will attract. Why? Because a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Being grateful creates a positive energy that draws more good things into your life. Now, this is a critical component to becoming the person who attracts success: personal responsibility. If you want to attract success, you've got to take 100% responsibility for your life. No excuses, no blaming others, no playing the victim. You see, successful people take full ownership of their circumstances. They understand that while they can't control everything that happens to them, they can control how they respond. And that's the key. How you respond to life's challenges is what determines your success. Too many people go through life blaming their circumstances, their upbringing, the economy, their boss, their spouse, anyone or anything but themselves. But here's the truth. As long as you're blaming something outside of yourself, you're giving away your power. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. You acknowledge that while you can't change the past, you can shape your future. And that's the mindset of someone who attracts success. They don't wait for circumstances to change. They change themselves. They don't wait for someone else to make things better. They make things better. Taking responsibility is the cornerstone of becoming the person who attracts success. You see, the moment you shift from blaming external factors to owning your decisions, your attitude, and your actions, that's the moment you unlock your potential. It's the moment you stop waiting for life to get easier or for the perfect opportunity to fall in your lap. And you start creating the circumstances that lead to success. Because, my friends, life doesn't respond to wishful thinking. Life responds to action, to determination, to personal accountability. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about beating yourself up when things go wrong. It's about owning the outcome, learning from it, and moving forward. If you fail, and you will fail from time to time, don't look for someone or something to blame. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What could I have done differently? How can I improve next time? That's what personal responsibility looks like. It's about seeing every setback as a lesson and using those lessons to grow stronger, smarter, and better prepared for the next challenge. When I started my journey, I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned early on that if I wanted to grow, I couldn't afford to pass the blame. One time, I remember, I was struggling in my early business ventures, and it was so tempting to point fingers at everything. The market, the economy, even the people I was working with. But then I had a moment of clarity. I realized that if I was going to get anywhere, I had to own my results, good or bad. And once I did that, everything changed. I stopped waiting for circumstances to improve, and I started improving myself. That shift in mindset made all the difference. Here's the thing. Personal responsibility leads to personal empowerment. The more responsibility you take for your life, the more power you have to change it. And that's where success is attracted. When you're in control of your life, your actions, your future, there's no power in blame, but there's tremendous power in accountability. So I'll ask you again, how much responsibility are you willing to take for your success? Because that's going to determine how far you go. But here's something else. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you do everything alone. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that being successful means doing it all by yourself. That's not the case. You need people. You need mentors. You need a team. You need a support system. What taking responsibility means is that you are in charge of finding the right people, building the right relationships, and putting yourself in the right environments. You have to seek out those connections that will help you grow. You have to be responsible for surrounding yourself with the right influences. And that brings me to another key point. If you want to attract success, you need to be selective about the people you allow into your life. We talked earlier about the importance of your relationships, but I want to emphasize this. You have to be intentional about your associations. Show me the people you spend the most time with, and I'll show you your future. If you're surrounding yourself with negative, small-minded, or toxic individuals, it's going to be nearly impossible to attract success. But if you surround yourself with positive, ambitious, forward-thinking people who are striving for success themselves, you'll naturally start to rise to their level. There's an old phrase I love, iron sharpens iron. It means that when you spend time with people who are sharp, who are motivated, who are driven, they make you sharper. They challenge you to think bigger, to raise your standards, to step up your game. That's why it's so important to be mindful of your circle. Success is not a solo journey. It's a journey where you need to be surrounded by people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who hold you accountable to your potential. Now, here's another key point on attracting success. Contribution. It might sound counterintuitive, but if you want to attract success, you have to be focused on giving, not just getting. You see, success isn't about what you can take from the world. It's about what you can give. The more you contribute, the more value you bring to others, the more success you will attract. That's just how life works. I'm sure you've heard this before. You reap what you sow. It's a principle as old as time. If you sow generosity, kindness, and value, you'll reap success, abundance, and fulfillment. The people who attract the most success are the people who are constantly thinking, how can I serve? How can I help? How can I make a difference? They're not focused on what they can get. They're focused on what they can give. And in giving, they create an environment where success flows naturally to them. Here's an example. Think about the most successful businesses in the world. What do they all have in common? They solve problems. They provide value. They meet needs. They're focused on giving the best possible service or product to their customers. And because they're focused on giving, they attract incredible success. The same principle applies to your life. If you want to attract success, focus on how you can add value to the lives of others. When you do that, you'll find that success starts chasing after you. Now, you might be wondering, how do I start contributing more? How do I add value to the lives of others? Well, it doesn't have to be anything grand or dramatic. It starts with small acts of kindness, with showing up fully in your work, with being a positive influence on those around you. It's about looking for ways to serve in whatever capacity you can. And here's the thing. The more you give, the more you grow. Every time you contribute to someone else's life, you grow in wisdom, in experience, and in character. And that's what attracts success. When you become a person of value, success is drawn to you like a magnet. Let me share a little secret with you. One of the greatest joys in life is to be of service to others. There's something incredibly fulfilling about knowing that you've made a positive impact on someone's life, that you've helped someone move closer to their goals or overcome a challenge. That's what gives life meaning. And when your life is filled with meaning and purpose, success is just a natural byproduct. It's not something you have to chase. It's something that flows to you because you're living a life of contribution. So becoming the person who attracts success is not about chasing after something outside of yourself. It's about working on the inside, developing the qualities, the habits, and the mindset that naturally draw success into your life. It's about taking responsibility, being persistent, staying positive, and adding value. When you focus on becoming that kind of person, success will follow. You won't have to chase it. It will find you.